Garmin doesn't usually confirm anything before it's ready to, but this time, the cracks are showing early. Between a pointed hint from CEO Cliff Pemble about a loaded second half of 2026 and a teardown of Garmin's own Connect app turning up direct references to an unannounced Enduro 4, the signs are stacking up fast. Since Garmin has a habit of launching its Enduro and Fenix lines together, that leak says more about the Fenix 9 than most outlets have let on. So here's everything currently known, cross-checked and broken down. Display, processor, GNSS, health sensors, and what it'll likely cost. The strongest piece of evidence so far isn't a leaked render or a supply chain whisper. It's Garmin's own code. On June 17, 2026, a teardown of Garmin Connect version 5.26 for Android turned up a direct internal reference to the Garmin Enduro 4, a string that didn't exist in version 5.25. That matters more than it might seem at first glance, because Garmin has historically launched the Enduro and Fenix lines close together, sharing much of the same underlying hardware platform. The Enduro 3 and Fenix 8 arrived within weeks of each other in 2024, and the same pattern held for the Enduro 2 and Fenix 7. An Enduro 4 reference buried in production app code is a reasonable proxy for a Fenix 9 that's already deep into manufacturing. Putting the CEO's comments together with Garmin's release history, most trackers now converge on an August to October 2026 launch window, with September being the most frequently cited month. Garmin tends to move quickly once a device is confirmed internally, often going from announcement to shelf availability within 1 or 2 weeks. So once official word lands, the wait for retail units shouldn't be long. On the hardware side, the most confident prediction across the board is a processor upgrade. The Fenix 8 and its Pro variant have been running variations of the same NXPI.MXRT class chip for a couple of generations now, and it's starting to show, especially when the watch is rendering topographic maps at speed. Anyone who's tried to navigate a technical trail run with the map, zoomed in, knows the redraw lag, sometimes stretching past 10 seconds, which is simply unacceptable on a device positioned as a performance tool. The Fenix 9 is expected to move to a faster chip, likely in the I.MXRT 700 class, which should translate into smoother UI scrolling and quicker offline route calculation, even if the core clock speed gains are modest. Display technology is the other major talking point, and it's more nuanced than a simple resolution bump. Garmin introduced micro-LED as a Fenix 8 Pro option in 2025, but that panel remains expensive and battery-hungry, which makes a second micro-LED generation unlikely before 2027. What's more plausible for the Fenix 9 is a refined AMOLED panel pushed toward 3,000 nits, up from the current roughly 2,000 nit ceiling, alongside better power efficiency at the display driver level. There's also genuine buzz around a transparent solar charging layer sitting over an AMOLED or micro-LED panel, essentially solving the long-standing trade-off between vivid always-on displays and the extreme battery life MIP solar watches are known for. Garmin has held patents on this concept since 2022, and with Amazfit reportedly working on its own solar wearable, a head-to-head race between the two companies in this space wouldn't be surprising. GNSS Accuracy is getting a serious look too. Huawei has already shipped tri-band GNSS in a consumer wrist device, and Garmin holds patents pointing towards similar ambitions, potentially delivering positional accuracy down to roughly 50 centimeters in dense urban canyons or under heavy tree cover. Analysts peg the odds of this landing on the Fenix 9 itself at around 80%. With near certainty by the Fenix 9 Pro in 2027 if it doesn't make the cut this year. Health sensing is where things get genuinely new rather than iterative. Garmin filed a trademark for muscle battery in April 2026, and the working theory is that it pairs with a next-generation Elevate Gen 6 optical sensor to estimate localized muscle oxygen saturation, or SMO2, giving athletes fatigue data specific to individual muscle groups rather than a generalized cardiovascular score. A dedicated SMO2 sensor is reportedly expected as early as August 2026, though it remains an open question whether this debuts on the Fenix 9 or on a separate device first, since muscle oxygen readings are typically more useful from targeted sensor placement than from the wrist alone. Connectivity upgrades look set to stay safety-focused rather than convenience-focused. Expect deeper standalone satellite messaging and improved location sharing, building on the LTE and satellite groundwork Garmin laid with the Fenix 8 Pro, rather than any leap toward phone-free calling or app-style notifications. On the physical side, leaked schematics suggest a lighter build, with the standard 47mm case dropping to around 75 grams through reworked internals and grade 5 titanium alloys, aimed squarely at making all-night sleep tracking more comfortable. Pricing should stay familiar. Garmin already tested the market ceiling with the Fenix 8 Pro Micro LED and had to walk prices back in both the US and UK afterward, which suggests the base AMOLED Fenix 9 will open near $999, with a Pro variant, if it arrives on the same timeline, sitting closer to $1,199. As for whether current Fenix 8 owners should hold out, the case for waiting strengthens the closer we get to that September window, particularly if the processor and display upgrades land as expected, since Fenix 8 pricing typically softens the moment a successor is confirmed. Thank you for tuning in. So that's the full picture as it stands right now. A faster chip, a brighter display with a possible solar twist, tri-band GNSS, and a muscle battery feature that could change how seriously athletes take their recovery data. None of it is officially confirmed yet, but the pieces are lining up close enough that a September announcement feels like the safe bet. What do you think Garmin needs to fix most this generation? The map lag, the battery trade-offs, or something else entirely? Drop it in the comments.